When I was a little girl, at just the age of 7, I was molested by a female acquaintance. And at that very young age, I was just super hyper aware of sex. And then at the age of 12, my parents split and they started to go through their divorce. And I just felt really alone. And I wanted to find comfort in anyone, whoever that was. And at the age of 13, I was just performing things that only adults should have been performing. After 4 years of that, I came out of that relationship and I started to struggle with my mental health. I found myself in another relationship where it was very abusive, emotionally, mentally, and physically. I was called fat and ugly, and I was told that nobody would ever love me or respect me. From 2018 until 2024, I was in this horrid depression. I would inflict self-harm. I was very suicidal. I was put on 10 psychiatric medications. I was in inpatient programs and outpatient programs. I sought worldly things to fill the emptiness that I had, and a lot of that included weed, alcohol, relations with toxic men. I would try to find my identity in these men that just treated me so poorly. They treated me like trash. And that's where my identity was. It was in those people.
From age 17 to age 30, I was in a gang, and I participated in a whole lot of things I was not proud of. I decided that I didn't want to be a part of that life anymore, and I wanted to do better for my children. I have a son with autism who's nonverbal. I'm his greatest influence. He looks up to me for everything, and I decided I didn't want to be in that life anymore, and I didn't need gangs. I didn't need the people that were in gangs anymore, and I didn't need the activity that came with it. In the gang life, you have to go through a ritual to be in, and you have to go through a ritual to be out. As many times as I had watched it happen before me, I thought it could never be me. You know, I've been around forever. I've known these guys forever. They've been my family. January 31st, 2024, I got in my car, picked up a friend of mine who I had known since I was 17, and I drove him to the location where 4 more of my former friends had awaited. They stood in a circle. As I went to go fight somebody that was standing in front of me, the person that I had picked up and drove there sucker punched me and knocked me out cold. I'm out cold. I got a bump on my face. I got missing teeth from it. The people that watched me grow up from a little boy to a father stomped me out for 2 minutes, beat me up. And one of my closest friends in that entire period of time, more than half my life, stood over me after they were all done and shot me twice.
I'm a big motorcycle guy, and we were riding. It was a beautiful day. No cars on the back road or anything. And then out of nowhere, bam, another motorcycle come around the corner, hit right in the leg. I went down, went about 150 feet, rolling and rolling, broke my wrist, broke my tailbone, split my head open, and I landed on my side. Blood was coming down like a curtain on my head. And I looked over, I felt something at my leg, and I noticed it was gone. And I started feeling like I was going out, and not a religious guy at the time. And I started praying to Jesus. And I said, Lord, I know there's something I have to do here while I'm on earth. Please help me. What do I got to do? And a voice said, I got your back. And then all of a sudden, a girl flipped me over, came out of nowhere. My friend at the time was in shock, and she calmed him down, took his belt off, and stopped the bleeding. She turns out, after I got to know her, to be a Navy trauma specialist, who in the 2 weeks before that was her project, was exactly what happened to me. And then a couple other cars pulled over, and they turned out to be RNs. And everybody was just helping me. They got me to the hospital fast, 11 minutes. I can see my surgeon, and he said, you're the one. You are the one. And I'm confused. I'm going, what do you mean I'm the one? He goes, you're the one. I've done over 100 of these, and you're the only one I've ever talked to. You should not be here. I do not know how you're here. Whoever put that tourniquet on you, you had about 90 seconds left to live.
I found myself asking God to take me because I didn't want to live anymore. There was this one night on all fours, crying and pleading. And I was ready to take all 540 pills that I had in my house. And God had revealed himself to me that night. He spoke 3 things to me. He said that I was loved, that I am worthy, and that I've been chosen. And ever since that night, I've felt like this field of protection over me. It's just like a sense of peace that I can't even explain, but I feel like that emptiness that I did carry with me has been filled. It was like a father that wanted you to go back home. For the first time, someone loved me and someone actually wanted me.
A police officer was patrolling the area and saw me laying there and rolled me over. He saw blood, saw tears in my clothing, and saw my face was unrecognizable. All my teeth were gone and I was in a pool of blood. So he called the ambulance for me. And I woke up in my hospital room in a half-conscious state. And I've never been a religious guy ever in my life. Never picked up a Bible. I saw Jesus on the cross in my mind for the next few hours. And I was sobbing, just crying, sobbing, because I had felt like I had seen God. And I could just feel this overwhelming emotion. Over the next year and 4 months, I felt this tremendous will to do good. And I felt this tremendous presence of God. I could just feel something telling me, go to church, read the Bible, get involved, worship God, worship Jesus. You know, he saved your life. Jesus saved you. I went on Facebook one day and I saw a Facebook friend of mine from Worcester named Steven Ramiro. And I saw the video of his baptism, and I had seen baptism videos before. For some reason, I watched his baptism and I cried like it was me getting baptized. And I reached out to him and I was so proud of him. I was like, man, I just saw your baptism and that's amazing, man. God bless you. You know, I wish I could get there one day. And he, in a nutshell, said, you can. Reach out to Faith Church, reach out to Doug. And I walked into Doug's office scared because I had never walked into a church before. I was so petrified to meet Doug. And I felt like Doug knew me my whole life. And I unloaded and sobbed and cried. And I said, Jesus has been calling me, telling me to come. And I led a life of sin and I'm ready to follow Jesus. And cried to Doug, and Doug handed me my first Bible. Got home, walked in the door, sat down and opened the Bible to John. And I got to a part where Jesus rubbed mud on a blind man's eyes and made him see again. That part of John touched me in such a way that I'm sitting there alone, just sobbing and crying as I read this part of John, that it made me read John like 12 more times until I could digest every word of it.
My main concern was to see how I can use the leg and get back to the same old ways I've been. Just a lot of sin, swearing, looking down on people. I can manipulate a conversation, things that were just not godly. And then it was just till recently, as we all know, what happened to Charlie Kirk. And something about that jumped into my heart and said, I need to get on board. Immediately, I started repenting. And I wanted to try out a few churches. And then a friend of mine who doesn't even go to church recommended Faith Church. So I said, I'm gonna go try it out. Instantly, I said, this is my church. The pastor said, oh, by the way, next week we got 14 baptisms going on. And I said to myself, no, you don't, you have 15. And I said right away, this is it, I'm all in for Jesus. He's not done with me. And I want him to use me for whatever he wants to use me for, however I can help.
Started to read my Bible. I've never read a Bible a day in my life. And I read my Bible, I take notes. I do so much so that I can continue to get closer to him and so that I can continue to build this relationship, because it's love that I've never felt before and I don't ever want to lose it again. So I'm doing everything I can to maintain it, to keep watering it so that I don't ever lose that relationship.
The word of Jesus moved me in ways that I've never been moved before, and it made me want to follow his word and try to emulate him as best as I can. And I had never been like this ever in my life, and I just wanted to do my best from there on out to live in his word and love and accept people and understand people and help people and Anybody else out there that hears this, it's not too late. It's never too late. No matter what you've done, no matter where you've been, Jesus accepts you and loves you. And you just have to repent. And you have to accept Jesus and surrender yourself to Jesus and his word.
I would love to flood heaven. Let's flood it. I mean, he's got plenty of room up there. And, you know, you've got 2 ways to go. What are you waiting for, people? Get on the right track. You've always wanted to do it. You're sitting in this building for a reason. Let's go. Let's get baptized. Bring it.
My name is Zachary.
My name is Doug.
My name is Rochelle, and I've decided to follow Jesus.